learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in at September 15th, 2020, and the stock market is moving. Which direction? Well, up today. It was down Friday, then up the day before that, then down the day before that. But a lot of things are moving at once, not only just prices, but movement. We saw a very interesting day today. A lot of things happened. We saw the TikTok news, but we also saw a bunch of stuff from vaccine down to banks. And then we also have Powell this week, and that is very, very significant. Sprinkle on some individual trades. The market is crazy, but we have a lot to talk about. I have the keys, I have the plays, what we're looking at for tomorrow, and then everything else for the rest of this week, and especially Powell. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, if you want to see a bunch of grown men discuss the Federal Reserve Chair more often than you've probably heard anything in a week, be there this week, but it's an event. Be there. I'm sorry, I just get really excited. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch this below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. But right off the bat, a lot of things happened today. Again, both markets and news. And one thing I will say, we saw the NASDAQ clip about 3%, I believe, today, then kind of came down a little bit. But overall, with a lot of companies, 3% moves are occurring more often, and it's kind of a little sign of volatility and even adjusting to some of the levels that we're at. So I'm watching at that. But despite that being common, watch out for the cuckening. Again, the fact, this is what I said last week, that September is really not going to move. And you see, this is the little game of ping pong we've been playing here, but we haven't really done much. Now, we started off at the highs. There's a lot going on. We're going to see what happens. But I think we'll find out a lot more about this range once we get some Powell or some of these potential news events. And now that's the next level. Besides some of these price movements, again, the market moving, we gapped up, NASDAQ hitting 3%, any of that. There was a lot of individual pieces of news. So there was the TikTok deal, there was more updates, but essentially what the deal was, and this is going to relate to the plays because I made a play against this, even though we were looking at it again, it was just too expensive and the nature of how the news came out. But Oracle was up, I think 8% at one point at these levels, but they were up a lot in the morning, and the deal was, or the news was, that TikTok made an agreement for them to be like a specified partner or the strategic something. Just, again, we talked about this. I said there's going to be conflicting news, and then it popped up a second time, and even the more craziest part about it, they halted Oracle in the morning pending news. Then it came out, but I think that's kind of what made the pop happen, and it kind of watered down because then at the same time, there was an announcement that Walmart is also selected to partner with them as well, too. Again, this is just not sounding like a sale or what, again, people were expecting to cause a move, or even if that's what the government was expecting. But TikTok's pretty much like, yo, you meant sale. Oh, I thought you meant sale, like just partner sale. But again, we'll talk about this when we get to the plays. However, now even afterwards, there was news that they had to like get approval, or it relies on Trump extending the original deadline. Again, Munchkin said 20th today. The original deadline is tomorrow. So moment of truth is tomorrow. Again, there's a lot of confusion in the air now, so we will see what happens. But there was that. Now, at the same time, I'm saying a lot of other stuff happened. It wasn't as if this TikTok news really controlled today. There was also Citibank. They got in trouble, and the stock moved down a pretty decent amount. Honestly, 5.3% is a lot for a bank. We've brought the banks up, how they've kind of been holding up at these levels. So that was a big move. I'd say it's important. It did cause some of the other banks to go down. We also have like Goldman Sachs and all that. Remember, we talked about Bank of America, but that was something that was, again, big enough to, it definitely caught my attention and could have some implications. Now we'll even see with Powell this week, but There was also an Astrazeneca Probe. Now, again, the news was that they ended it last week, or they had adverse results, and then they said that they were going to continue it, and now they're saying they might continue it after a probe, but now they're not continuing it. So, again, even the negative vaccine news, you guys see how initial news comes out, and then it kind of either develops or the waters get muddied, but there's a lot of moving pieces here in the market, and then your job is keep track. But at the end of the day, the Fed starts tomorrow. You get Powell Wednesday, and that is going to be the main thing. And there is pretty much a lot happening in the market right now. So considering what we saw last week at these levels, we have catalysts, and that's pretty much the last point. The Fed is going to be the key, in my opinion. We talked about that. I don't know if I made it clear yesterday. The main reasons are you're going to get the first ever 2023 economic guidance to a degree, or how the outlook from the Fed. That's the first time they're putting it out. So could end up being a non-event. We talked about that today. But then the other important thing is we are coming off of Jackson Hole. That was August 27th. That wasn't a live Fed meeting. This week, tomorrow and Wednesday, they are going to be live Fed meetings. You're going to get a press conference with Powell as well. But you could see pretty much since the Fed meeting, the dollar's almost at the same level, but it dropped and reacted, but there's been a lot more bigger movements since then. So we are watching the dollar and all that because he's pretty much giving guidance for the first time since that Jackson Hole speech and that whole average inflation that we talked about and that P brought up. That's the first time it's ever been implemented. So what he says or those hints is going to be important. So the Fed is going to be key, but now there's also a little bit of that correlation between the pound, the UK, and all that situation with Brexit and all that stuff. You're seeing that with the market, so watch out for that, and even UK markets. But there's also the situation even with oil. Remember, it moved down. You got some back and forth today, even between Saudis and Iraq, I think, about price cuts and talking about that. Some rumors came out, the news got rebutted, so I think that's important. But pretty much with all of them, and even with the market, Powell, it looks like we're going to need bigger, or I don't know what Oracle is, bigger or further developments with any of the news that's coming out or any of these situations. Again, for it to either get worse or get better. We get an update on the TikTok deal. Maybe the stimulus could be positive news. Maybe we get other positive news that outweighs the negative vaccine news, or vice versa on any other side. So that is going to be key, and the market is going to be exciting this week. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, one crazy play. I don't know why I'm so hyped. I made about $200 or $300. We got DraftKings shares, but watch the NFL after this week. We added it to the long-term portfolio, but they had a good update today that they did a partnership with Caesars Entertainment and ESPN, I believe. So that's pretty big for them. But again, even the trend they've been that special acquisition, something like an IPO at the all-time highs. We have a lot to talk about this. We talked about it today. I will give some more updates, but we added it to the long-term account. I grabbed 50 shares at like 6 in the morning, 20 minutes after market. 50 shares, 41.30, and then shortly after, the stock went crazy. So it was actually impeccable timing. We waited for that first bounce in the morning after it sold off. Again, I talked about exactly what we wanted to do. I talked about this yesterday. I was expecting it to gap up. It did a little bit, then went negative. So I was like, hey, I want to get it for the long term. Few things going on. We might even stream some Monday Night Football. I meant post-Sabbath football. But this was a pretty epic entry, 17% on the first day of holding along. This long-term stock, not too typical, but you will see. I told you guys I was trying to get the option. I was trying to snake the chain. I went after these. I put in an order for 10 at 35 cents. It was on the ask. I didn't get filled, but those are worth like $2. I would have made like $4,000 off of it. So I was just excited because we get to hold these shares forever, and I love the long-term account. So shout out to all the people who played it. However, I don't think this is the only opportunity to play. Again, this stock has been very volatile. There is going to be an opportunity for news. Just think even McDonald's, we got to see that. And now that is the next play. I'm already in this play. There's been no update on the Travis Scott burger. However, the calls are holding up very, very well despite the decay. So I like McDonald's. Again, it's a rotation stock. They're doing good. Again, it's still 1%. They were up a little bit more. But the fact the calls were up today, they kind of broke even. Again, they have a little bit of time, but I like how it's moving. So I'm still waiting on that news. So you can see this is a longer-term swing trade on there, but I'm still holding those. Those are about, I think they close about break even or slightly up, but I will be watching those. Even HD is a close second for that. But then finally, this was the play I made today. Quite a big play. I wanted to put my money where my mouth is pretty much, and I went decent-sized Oracle puts. I don't believe it. And again, I think the worst-case scenario is that they push it back to the 20th. Maybe Trump gives the approval for Munchkin's request and ByteDance and Oracle's request, but if anything, I think that's just going to be a soft landing. Otherwise, tomorrow would probably upset some stuff. So the puts were pretty cheap. Again, we got to get it off of the hull after it ran up. So I thought, why not? Again, the volatility wasn't too bad, but I bought 50 of the October 16th 45 puts at 10 cents. And I'll tell you, they ended up actually closing lower, and that's one thing I like about these contracts because they're going up and down. The fact that they're actually kind of moving with this stock in this range, it means expectations and movement are changing, and so I like that. It's an opportunity or volatility, so I'm still holding those. If the calls do get cheaper, I will want to get those just in case, or maybe play Walmart because they went up, but we saw that pop. We didn't end up playing it. And then finally, though, the last plays that I'll be looking at, and we're holding them, but banks, and this one's going to be a longer swing trade because September 30th is, I believe, that update on the Fed stress test. Remember, they did something a little different this year with those stress tests, so they updated it, but the fact that you got an update on Citi today that was kind of bad, that may give some hints to it, but if anything, Citi might be the play. So when it bounces, and I'm saying when it bounces because there's going to be 2 weeks of time, obviously people are worried today, think IV, 2 weeks from now, unless the situation gets a lot worse, it'll probably decay and set us up for a good opportunity right before an event. So it's all going to be based on premium for that play, but watch how that situation with the banks plays out. I'm still holding those Goldman Sachs. We still love those weeklies. They're weeklies now, I believe, on Bank of America, but the Goldman Sachs are holding up. Goldman Sachs. But watch the banks, watch Netflix. I'm still holding that. Some people talked about, again, that movie and the cancel Netflix hashtag. It's getting some traction, but I don't know if it's going to really kill the stock too much. It will really, really depend on the level of backlash. I think there could be a buffer, but we will see. Remember, I got that play, their weeklies now. Those are slightly down. So even then, last week volatility, even remember the VIX, kind of showing you how premiums have been, even though some of these are moving down still, the velocity's changing, and well, you're seeing that with some of the premiums. But watch them. We'll be keeping an eye on those. Astrazeneca as well. They had that pop move off of the bad news, again, that probe news, but they held up. Watch Walmart. I think that's going to be a good one. I'm still in those October plays, and those ended up are right below my break even, but they ended up shooting up when Walmart shot up. So I kind of like that, but because it's just showing it has the potential to move. So we'll see. But with Oracle puts, when Oracle shot up 8%, and then the fact that we got those calls where now we're just fluctuating between break even, we were down, we're kind of hedged on both sides, so let's kind of ride them out a little bit, or that's at least what I'm going to be doing, but we will let the news dictate that. But watch Microsoft as well, still holding some of those older plays. Again, I got a little carried away with those, but we're watching those play out, but not going to be adding anything else. Another one is Caesars. They benefited off the DraftKings thing as well, and they had a big day, but they're already a pretty expensive stock. I thought they were more in the gutter. I thought Caesars was a lot cheaper. They were down to like $8, so I don't know. I know I said I don't like the casino stocks, so you could hate me now, but there's still no dividend. But now I'm DraftKings, so I don't know. Welcome to Wall Street. But watch them. Watch Starbucks. I like them. I said I want to get a play. There was movements in coffee prices, so maybe that can affect them. But I like them on the rotation-wise, kind of in the same category as McDonald's and HD, but not really striking just yet. Snapchat ended up doing good. That play from yesterday or Friday, it went slightly above break-even, but dropped from open. So this pace kind of slowed down. The stock moved a little bit weirder. The options did. Airlines went up as well, too, or at least Southwest did. I think there was some move, but finally, watch UVXY again. It's selling off faster than the market moving, so watch out for that. But a lot of people have bounced to calls, and that's what it's kind of showing you. A lot of puts even expired, so we'll see what happens from here. However, the main key is going to be UUP, I think, this week. Don't really want to make a play on it, but however UUP plays out with the Fed or even sets up into that, that is going to have the potential to move gold or TLT, which are both kind of in these ranges. They kind of look similar, so keep that in mind. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to think about the credit. All that matters is if you get the job done. Don't focus on the credit. Focus on the job. And focus on the long term. You're doing good. Keep it small. Good decisions. Consistency. But the goal loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.